Hello children. Now in continuation to phycomycetes, the class of kingdom fungi that we have dealt in our previous video, we will be doing ascomycetes, the following class after the phycomycetes. Now you have known the characteristics of phycomycetes. Now when you will be studying ascomycetes, you will be able to see the variation and differences and could also see how evolution has taken place in fungi. Now, ascomycetes. Asco means sac. So, commonly known as sac fungi. Actually, asco term has been taken from ascus, and ascus term is used again and again in describing the life cycle of ascomycetes. You will come to know as you will follow it. Now, predominantly it is multicellular. It will be hyphae that will appear to be multicellular, but rarely you will find unicellular member as well. And its unicellular member, one of the examples, that is yeast, is of much use to all of us and is of a very common usage in our day-to-day life. Yeast, Saccharomyces, one of the species is cerevisiae, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is baker's yeast, and it has been used in baking and brewing industry since long. So this is unicellular. If you remember the structure of yeast, it was like this, and you have studied yeast in budding. So you have already done this when you were doing asexual mode of reproduction in class 10th. So yeast shows this kind of budding where a single nucleus divides, one of the nuclei is retained here, whereas in the original body, and the next nucleus or the other nucleus is pushed into a protuberance that is cut off finally and makes a roundel like this. Now this is a spore. Again it will make another. Now this can be a spore or a bud, whatever you wish to call it. We call it as bud. Now you have another one of such type formed, and it is formed in chain. The ones which are towards the periphery would keep on getting detached. Now they are saprophytic. You already know what is the meaning of saprophytic. They are decomposers, and decomposers, the one that convert inorganic substance into organic. Then they are parasitic at times or coprophilous. Now this is a new term, coprophilous, that you are coming to know here. This is meaning growing on dung of any type. So they are basically growing on the waste, human or any kind of waste, any animal's waste. That is coprophilous. Now, here the difference that you will observe from phycomycete will be the type of mycelium. The mycelium is branched and septate instead of aseptate as you have seen in phycomycetes. Here the mycelia or the hyphae is branched and it is septate. So both the characters are new. Branched like this, and septate, as I have already told you, there would be transverse walls formed and they will divide this into compartments. Now they are not true cells as such, but we do call them multicellular in general language. So we end up calling it multicellular, and we have this kind of division like this. So you have a septate body that is formed out of aseptate, and septate is formed because this transverse wall known as septa divides the compartment and thus providing one nucleus to each of the compartments. So you have this kind of a structure basically, and it is branched also. So this is the kind of hyphae or mycelia you get to see in ascomycetes. Okay. Now, asexual spores are born exogenously on conidiophores and spores called conidia. Now, again a comparison is there because in the phycomycetes, I have shown you the picture of Rhizopus also. You have seen that in that video as well, how the spores are formed inside the sporangia. So that was endogenous. Now when you take an example of a member of Ascomycetes, you will see that this asexual spore is formed over the structure quite similar to sporangia. Okay, and we have to call it as conidia. The structures which are formed are called as conidia. Now if you will be wanting to analyze that, the structure is somewhat like this. First of all, the body is septate, so you have to draw the septa. Then you will see the same kind of structure, but unlike Rhizopus, where the spores were born inside the sporangium and they were known as spores, here they are born outside. So this is known as vesicle, and this structure is known as conidiophore. Conidiophore. And then you will see these sterigmas. These are the structures which are exogenously born, means they are present on the outer side of this vesicle. Okay, so like this, you will just find them looking like petal when they are actually seen under microscope. They do look like this only when you investigate under microscope. These are known as sterigmas. So, and these will be bearing conidia like this, and they will keep on getting detached, keep on falling and making new hyphae which will become septate soon. So this is how it is formed, like this. So the nucleus which is here will undergo mitotic division. One will be pushed into this, one will remain here. Now again this one will divide, one will be pushed into protuberance and one will remain here. And likewise you will see that with one nuclei each, these spores are formed, and since they are formed outside, they are known as exogenous and they are known as conidia. Just to maintain difference, they have been given another name. So they are known as conidia. This can be an aspergillus. Easily you can take the example of aspergillus, okay, which is a Ascomycetes, unlike Rhizopus that was there in Phycomycetes. Now, sexual reproduction is by the formation of ascospores. These ascospores, non-motile spores are there in the beginning. They are formed endogenously in a sac-like structure. So, a sac-like structure is formed like this. The process of formation is not there in class 11 syllabus as per CBSE, but these are ascospores, 8 in number. So see, I was counting also because they are particularly 8 in number. So these are the ascospores. These are the reproductive spores which are for sexual reproduction, and this is known as ascus. You call it as SI in plural, otherwise singular you will call it as ascus. So this is the fruiting body. This is something that is going to make, this is the part of fruiting body, these ascus, or these, many of these asci, they can't be present singularly. So they will come together in cluster form, and when you will look at them, it will give you an appearance of fruiting body. Fruiting body, of course, they are not fruits, but like fruits have seeds that can grow further, these are also, these ascus or SI are also having ascospores which can give rise to hyphae later on. So that is why they are compared to fruiting body. So they are clustered and they give fruit like appearance, hence they are already known as fruiting body, and the fruiting body is known as ascocarp. So when these are clustered, these ascus are clustered with lot many ascospores inside. When they are clustered together, it is known as ascocarp. So the name of the fruiting body of ascomycete is ascocarp. I told you in the beginning that ascus term and related terms will be used again and again. So it will be easier for you to relate them with ascomycetes. Okay, the name of the spores, sexual spores, is ascospore. Name is quite similar. Then where are they born? They are born inside ascus, sac-like structure. These asci all together make a clustered structure which is just appearing like a fruit, and this is known as fruiting body, and name also has been given similar, that is ascocarp. Okay, carp term has come from carpal, something related to female structure in angiosperm. So somewhere the relationship has been maintained, saying that it is a fruiting body. That is why ascocarp, because there also the female part, that is ovary, gets converted into the fruit, isn't it? And the ovule gets converted into seed. So somewhere it is related, and that is why they are using these terms. Now examples. Examples, you have claviceps, aspergillus. Niger is one of the important and mostly used species, and neurospora. And it is can, CAN. So of course you can learn it. Claviceps, aspergillus, neurospora. CAN. You can. Okay. Now neurospora crassa. I have written one species also just to make you aware, which is the most common one. Neurospora crassa. Let me tell you, neurospora is widely used in genetic studies. So neurospora, as you know, something related to plant, not exactly animal, right? Because it is fungi, it will be more near to plant than animal. Drosophila melanogaster, you will come across this fruit fly when you will study class 12th. It has a lot of studies related to it on its name. Lot of genetic studies, it has been done on the using Drosophila melanogaster. Morgan was the scientist who really worked with Drosophila and has earned a lot of name also. We will discuss that whenever we are in class 12th, on that chapter. So Drosophila of plant kingdom, Neurospora crassa, is as explored in genetic study as Drosophila of the animal kingdom, because that is a insect, a fruit fly. So as Drosophila is for animals, Neurospora is for plants as far as genetic studies are concerned. Now this can be asked as a question in your entrance exams or your competitive exams as well. So you should be knowing that Neurospora is called as Drosophila of plant kingdom. You also have TM. Okay, truffles and morels, they are the delicacies. They are type of fungi which have been enjoyed as delicacies and are of course very costly. So this is about ascomycetes. I'm sure you have understood it. If you go through it once, you will be able to grasp more. Thank you.